Hi everybody, it's Karen from Vintage Style Journals. I've just got this journal that I've finished, and I just wondered whether you might just like to have a quick look through it. I'm going to try not to be too long, but I'm not going to race through it either because it's taken me forever to finish. And this is my beautiful Magnolia journal. Not sure whether I'm going to call her Miss Magnolia yet, but I think that's probably a good name because a lot of the designs that I've put inside the journal are beautiful vintage pictures of women and magnolias. Some of them have been my own designs as far as my drawings go, and I've placed them onto beautiful card and Parisian essence, changed them somewhat, so I'll open her up in a minute. But I just wanted to show you this lovely picture on the front here. She's got a little bit of a crackle thing going on her face. So I was doing these the other day and thought I must put one on the front of this journal. And before I open her, I just want to show you the others that I've finished as well. This is another beautiful picture. I do know her name, and I do have her name inside the journal, so hopefully I'll get to that in a minute. But you can see the crackle finish on her. I'm kind of glad it didn't crackle over her face, even though I'd put the crackle varnish on there. It didn't actually work for some reason or another. I'm really glad because I've got this other one here that I've had to just take some of the crackle off the top of her face. This one here, I've actually left the crackle there, but I kind of like that look for this journal anyway. But these are just glue. I've created these using the frames, the IOD frames molds, and what I did was I actually put some glue sticks in the molds and just put them in the oven to melt out, and that's what they came out like, and that's the back of it. So you can see I'm not telling untruths. This is actually glue, and that's going to stick down really well. It's a little bit malleable, which is good. If I wanted to bend it a little bit, I could do that. So yeah, just a little tip, you can use hot glue in them. And because my gun doesn't get to a high temperature, what I did was I just simply placed the glue sticks in the frame mouldings themselves and hoped for the best, really. I put them in the oven in the IOD mould and hoped that the mould wouldn't melt because it's such a beautiful mould. I didn't want to lose it, but this is what they came out like. I'm really happy with that result. Alrighty, so let's open Miss Magnolia. That's the front page. This is beautiful vintage wallpaper that I've placed onto the card, and I've wrapped it around the spine and around the back. And this is a tri-fold type of journal. I haven't made too many of these, and this will be a one-off, so there won't be another design like her. And I'm going to place her up on my Etsy store sometime in the very near future. So if you're interested, she'll be for sale. And I love this beautiful sari silk. It's just the most gorgeous creamy white colour. And throughout the journal I've used sari silk in a beautiful gold colour as well as the cream. And I think it all just really works because it picks up the colours here as well. So I was really quite happy with that. And all I've done here is I've simply wrapped around the sari silk, and I've probably got about 2 meters of it here, and placed a little diamante on the front there just to give it a little bit of extra verve. So that's just how it will come. When you wrap it up, just place that on there and just wind it around pretty much until you get to the side. Righty, so I'll just pop that aside. Now this is a vintage lace doily that I've hacked to death, and I've used it quite a bit in this journal. It's just so delicate and gorgeous. I just wanted it to sort of, zing up the front page a little bit. And again, this is the mould that is made from glue. And what I've done is I've placed some, painted it with raw umber, and then I've just brushed very lightly some beautiful rich gold from my Chroma paints, which are the Jo Sonia brand that I use. And then what I've done is I've used some Mod Podge for the picture, and I printed up the picture on just my normal, what do you call those, like an Epson printer. It's not a laser printer. I've got both, but for this one I just used the normal printer. And on the back of, I'll just show you how they look. So you can't see the picture very clearly there, but the design itself is a woman, and then I've used a matte Mod Podge. Just see if I can see what the stuff is called. I've put it somewhere. I can't see where I've put it. But it's just basically something that you can use to transfer, and it's not a matte one, but what you do is you paint over the picture, and it doesn't tend to actually take away. Sometimes if you wet just the normal printing from your printer, it'll smudge and go all different kinds of colours, but this didn't do that. So what it's done is you paint it on and then leave it for 24 hours or so, or at least until it's dry. But you can actually stick it straight down onto whatever you're using, and that's the back of the picture there. But I did a little bit differently. I waited until it was all dry, and then I've trimmed all the way around the edges, and I'll probably trim around this one a little bit more. But you just trim around the edge, and then you place it onto whatever you need it to be transferred onto. Make sure it's stuck down. I just use your normal Mod Podge to stick it down, and then I just wet over the top of that and then just rubbed off the paper, and that's the result that you get. It takes a little time just to rub over the paper and make sure that you've got all the paper off, but you can pretty much see that the designs themselves, like these ones, you can see that there's no paper on that one. No paper on this one either. It's just simply the Mod Podge material that I used giving me that beautiful transfer, so I can just whack it down. The only thing with doing it that way is it'll be a mirrored image, so unless you have any other transfer material, which you can get Penta, put one out, but you can't get it in Australia for some reason or another. But and that just places it on the way that you see it coming out in your print. Okay, so moving on. Again, I'll put this here. This is a little bit of a pocket. I'm not going to use it like that, and I think I might even pop something on there, but I'm just not sure at the moment. I don't want it to really take away from the Magnolias, because that's the whole point of the journal. With this one, I've got two signatures in the middle, and I've simply just placed holes in the spine of the journal and put the two signatures there, and then on the other flip I've done the same thing, and I've used this gorgeous sari silk to tie everything in. Right, so let's open her up. Yeah, I don't know if I'd put anything there. I probably won't, but it's okay. So the first page, let's get back into view there. I've made some pockets out of just some old hem sheets. They're really, really vintage, and they're quite fragile actually. I don't know whether, I suppose you wouldn't want to play with it too much, but what I've done is I've made a concertina pocket there so that you can put a variety of ephemera in, and it's not lifting up because this one here, I'll just take it out and show you, it's a bit heavy. So this one is just a design that I made using one of the IOD molds, and it's just a strip of clay that comes out in this gorgeous moulding. So that goes in there. That's the pocket. Hubby took me out for lunch recently, and they had these knife and fork little pockets that they put their knife and fork in, and on the back of it you can see that was the colour of it. And all I've done is I've put some vintage hymnal paper over that, and I think it turned out quite good as a pocket. So he didn't think I was mad, because I think he knows that I look for this sort of stuff anyway and try to use what I can. And this is just a little coffee stained piece of lace, and this beautiful vintage satin material here. I bought quite a lot of this a couple of years back now, probably 3 or 4 years back, and I couldn't believe that I got, oh gee, it must have been about 3 or 4 meters and 60 inches wide of this gorgeous fabric, and it is vintage, and it was stained, and I think whoever put it out, I bought it at an op shop, and I think I probably paid $2 for it. It wasn't very dear at all. So I've made quite a few roses out of this material because it is a vintage, and I try to use it in most of my journals, but I just love that gorgeous colour. It's just so beautiful. And this again is just a little piece of sari silk from the wrapping, it just to tie it in a little bit. I'm trying not to use completely all vintage looking or stained looking paper, but I must say I'm really quite drawn to it rather than the white. But I thought I would throw a little bit of white in there just to offset it a little bit. Now this is one of my drawings. I did this Magnolia when I was screening at our medical centre for people who had symptoms or who had you know, been in contact with anybody who has COVID, and this is right in the beginning. So I sat downstairs screening everybody coming in, and while we were not in a busy stage, I just did quite a few doodles, and the Magnolia was one of those. And you can see again here, the same design here. I've printed it up onto some more card, and I used my laser printer for these so that I could actually stain them, because if I used just a normal printer it'd smudge. So once I print them up with the laser, I just pop it in coffee or Parisian essence or tea, whatever takes my fancy on the day, but usually Parisian essence, because it just gives off this really gorgeous spotty unique kind of look, and it doesn't have that really strong coffee scent about it. It has no scent at all, so it's really quite a good one to use if you're looking at staining any of your papers. But because it's a laser print, it won't run, and it keeps the print beautiful and sharp. Almost looks like a I don't know I don't know what it looks like, but that's one of my drawings anyway. Now before I go any further, I want to talk about this gorgeous paper here. I've got a this paper here, got a very small amount of this left. I bought this from France, oh gee, 5 or 6 years ago maybe, and the person that sold it to me said they were not doing any more, so it's pretty rare. But I just love the chunky, I hope you can see all that, just the chunky bits that she's put in the paper when she created it. So I thought I'm going to put some of that on the front and the back, which I've done. And this little pocket here, I've left a couple of them open just so that whoever purchases this can actually put some of their own ephemera. But this is just a beautiful little vintage girl that I found. And I've placed some of those lovely mouldings that I was telling you about the other day. I've done a video on the modelling paste, and this is how it comes out. It's just stunning. It's lovely and small and fine, and you can see it's not very thick on there, whereas the clay might look a little bit thicker. And as I mentioned in my other video, this stuff is moldable, so malleable rather, so you can actually move it around a little bit if you need to. Because even though it's set, it still remains bendy. So I've used that on this beautiful picture. Pop her back in there. And this one here, I made her a couple of years ago. Just a little bit of ephemera just to dress up a page. I've put some of these things in here. Lovely vintage silk there. Right, and just put this one back in. Put it right in the back. What I've done with my journals is I try to put a reasonable amount of homemade type of ephemera in it. Most of the things that I have in my journals I create myself, whether they're not these pictures, obviously they're downloaded, but yeah, they're just really beautiful vintage women. I'm drawn to that era, I suppose, so I try to use some of it in my journals. This one here is one of my, just trying to stay in picture there, one of my downloadables from the my Etsy store, and it's basically a journal that I've superimposed some lace over the top of that and created a downloadable print. That's in my lace paper section of my download digis. And what I've done here is I'll show you the back. It looks a little bit, got a bit of a sheen on it, but what I did was I Mod Podged the back, because this is just printed up from my normal printer. It's not a laser print, and I like the mateness of it. And so what I've done is I Mod Podged the back, because I printed up a few sheets that I've got in this particular journal, and then I painted the back with a watery paint just to take away some of the extreme white of the back of the page. It's just on normal, reasonable quality printing paper. But what putting the Mod Podge on does is it actually makes it quite a firmer paper, so it's not really going to tear very easily. Well, won't tear unless you really try hard. So I just thought that's what I did with all the papers that I printed up on my regular computer printer. And so when I put the wet paint on the back, it didn't change the colours, but you can see here some of the colour has come through, and I really like that. And strangely enough, it didn't smudge the lines, which I was really quite thrilled about. But it just gives it a bit of an old world kind of look, and it also is quite a sturdy paper. So I've kept that in there just as pull out, and so you know, that's good for writing on, and also both sides of it are easy to be written on. This here is one of my lovely journal cards. It's like a bookmark. I made up a whole pile of these for the ladies in our church. We were having an afternoon tea, and quite a lot of people had been invited. So what I did was I just put this little design together, and I printed them up and put them on card, added beads to them and some vintage lace, and gave everyone a bookmark. But what I did do initially was I mistakenly printed some of them up on sticker paper, because that was what was in my printer, and silly me, didn't look. So I kept them, and I thought, well, what a perfect one to put there, just stuck over a little bit of the gold sari silk, and it's quite pretty. It's got my toile design on there. That's my painted design, and you can see that. I'll show you my table here is where you can see it's a little bit scrappy, because I don't look after it, and I just let it get painted on, and I try to wipe as much off, but some of the crackle has come away, and I just love the way that it looks. But that's my design, and that's what I've done here with this design. I've made some stickers out of that, and they're up for sale on my Etsy store as well. And they're gorgeous. They're just really gorgeous. Actually, I should have printed some up and just lined some of the pages, which I might do anyway. But they're all in different sizes and different colours. I've changed some of the hues so that, you know, if you're not into the browns, this is from the original design, believe it or not, even though that's almost like a deep oh, I don't know, a burgundy, mauvey, browny kind of hue. When I printed it up, it came up in quite a beautiful brown, which I'm really thrilled about. So I just popped that on there really for decoration, because that's one of the stickers that I made by mistake. And so here we go. There's just another beautiful vintage woman there. And I painted the back of this. That's just regular watered down paint, but that's going to make a gorgeous journal card for journaling if you're so into journaling. So that's popped in there into that pocket. And all the pages in here, these gorgeous pages, they're all very funky looking and very, you know, brown and cream, and they're just beautiful, and they're all writable pages, and they've all been done with Parisian essence. I usually just make up a big batch using probably about, oh, I don't know, a dessert spoon of Parisian essence in probably about a litre of water, hot water, and then I do all my pages in that. I don't do batches very often, but when I do a batch, I usually do a big batch, and it takes me hours. So a lot of work goes into getting these type of gorgeous vintage look. Okay, this one here, I couldn't resist. I know that this is a Magnolia journal, but I couldn't resist. I had to put a rose in here. Roses are my fave. And this is just a little journal card, really. So you can open that one up. Well, I'm not going to, but you can just open it up, as you can see, and journal in there. But the colour I just felt was just perfect for this this journal. So that's why she's in there. Right. Put that back. Another gorgeous picture. There's quite a few of these smattered throughout the journal, because it is about Miss Magnolia, and while they're not named Magnolia, these are just beautiful old vintage photographs that I've printed up. And on the back again, I've just painted the back in a light colour just to make it look a little bit darker on the back. And this paper here is a wallpaper printable. Just pop her back in there. It's just a beautiful Magnolia design. I just folded that up, and again I've Mod Podged the back and stained the back, and you can write on that, but so I've just put that in there as a just something, you know, to use as far as more journaling options. I don't know, do you journal in your journals? I do. I've got my own personal journal that I do journal in. But, and this is just some beautiful damask fabric. And again, some more of that lovely vintage satin. Okay, this one here is another one of those downloadables on my site, and it's just a beautiful damask pattern that I've done the same. I've Mod Podged the back again and just folded it in so that that can be extra writing space for whoever wants to write on it, or it can just be purely decorative, or can be used as a slide for something else. Next page is beautiful pocket made out of piano paper. I just love this. Simply can't resist it. It's just perfect. I just love it. I've made up a whole pile of these, and I've got them. Some of them I've painted some of my shabby style roses on, which are again up on my Etsy site. But I just love this picture of this woman and some more sari silk. But I just love that. Simply can't resist it. I don't know what song that comes from, but you can be sure that they're really old because it is a pianola roll piece of paper, and she just flips out there like that. Another couple of beautiful old pictures of the same woman by the looks, and I've just stained them on the back as well. So they're just extra journaling cards. And this one here, another rose. This is one of the IOD molds. This is wax that I've used in those, and I just love the way that came out. It's so sharp and gorgeous. And this has been Parisian stained as well. Just a lovely bookmark for somebody. I did actually have those in here, so I must have taken them out to do something else, but they can go in the pockets because there's 3, 1, oh no, there's more than 3. Let's have a look. 1 pocket, 2 pockets, oh no, 3 pockets in that one. So, but I just love that. A gorgeous rose. I've made quite a few of these. Had a bit of a wax thing on there for a little while back, where I just did up all this wax stuff, and I just love it. But the IOD molds, you can put wax in them. You can put wax in any mold for that matter. But I just love this particular one. This is in one of their what are they called? Their edge type molds. They're just strips of designs, and I think they've got 3 of them all together now. I can't remember what they're called, so you'll probably know more than I will. But just some more journaling space there, lots of journaling space. Even though I've got the ephemera in here, I've still allowed for some journaling space. Again, another printable on my Etsy. This one is just one of my lace papers. There's a set, I can't remember, probably a dozen of them in the set, I think. But they're just gorgeous. And I've done the Mod Podge thing again there. And on this one, I've actually printed up another one of the papers on there, and I've stuck it to half of the page, just so that I can just add a little bit of difference to it, I suppose. But that folds out, so you can write on that as well. You can put anything you like on there. And just made a pocket out of it onto this side. Another beautiful beauty. Again, stained on the back. You can see my brush marks on that one, which is not too bad. And this awesome lace. My daughter gave me this beautiful vintage lace. She's so thoughtful. For Christmas, she gives me vintage books that I can pull pages out of, and lovely vintage lace that she buys me online, and she just knows the sort of stuff that I like. But I just thought that was just one of the beautiful damask wallpapers that I've got. It might be in my grey set. I'm not sure what one that one's in. And again, just another beauty, but this time I've just put a white little moulding on there. You can see that. It's just really fine and delicate. And that's the moulding paste. So really, if you haven't tried it, you really should have a go at it. And it's just so beautiful, so versatile. And I put another one, a larger one on there, just to go with that particular page. This is one of the printable designs on my, I think my greys has this one. I put it in a couple of them. So that's gorgeous vintage wallpaper. And this is beautiful, beautiful vintage silk. I think it was a scarf, and I think it was a scarf. I can't remember now, but I cut it up, and it's just fabulous. It goes with every journal that I make, just about, because it's just such a beautiful colour. Even though it's a goldy hue, it just seems to work in with most of the things that I make. Pop her back in there. Again, this is just from a dress that I cut up. I bought it years ago at an op shop. It cost me, I think about $10 to $12 or something. But the dress was absolutely hideous. And I thought, who on earth would wear something like that? But when I looked again, I thought, that lace is really, really nice. I'm going to buy that dress and cut it up for the lace. So obviously repurposed, and just absolutely beautiful, this stuff. I've got some more coming in the journal anyway, but I just used a little bit of a scrap there as a lift, because I've got a pocket there, and the pocket has more of that ledger paper lace, just as journaling paper. Again, Mod Podged the back and painted it. The Mod Podge really makes it a sturdy paper. And look, you don't have to stick with Mod Podge if you don't have it. Things like Concertina Sealer would do the same thing as Mod Podge. It's a brilliant way of you can use it for transferring pictures, you know, to do decoupage as well. It's just really beautiful. So yeah, if you don't have Mod Podge, the sealer, Concertina Sealer, it works just as well. It doesn't really work as a glue, but you can use it as a glue. All right, so I showed you her. Gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. Put you back in. And voila, we have a page. It's got nothing on it. That's fabulous. Okay, let's move forward. Okay. Now this is, she's just a little, I hope she's not stuck in there. No. This is her name. Oh dear, don't tell me I've stuck it. No, I don't. Okay. It's Maud Feely. She's a printable off the internet. And yeah, just a very old photograph, but I love her face. I just think she's so stunning. So, and you can see she's got the same hair gizmo there and the same dress on there, just a different I don't know, different pose, I suppose. She's looking more distant there and she's looking quite sultry there. So I've used her in here, but her name is Maud Healy. She must have been an actress or something, I think. And I've made a little pocket under there just to pop her in there. And you can see that's a little journal card flip out. I'll just pop her back under here. This here is photo paper. And what I've done is I've just stamped some writing onto that paper. You can see it's got a bit of a shine to it. And then what I've done is I have sealed, I've varnished over top of it. Once it was really dry, I varnished over top of the paper just so that it wouldn't lift off. And this one here is the whole design of this one. And I'll show you in the end. I've got some frames that I make using my design. This is my hand-drawn Magnolia. So I've just popped a piece of that on there just so that I can make a bit of it goes right in, so there's a little pocket in there, but I just thought I'd sit her there so she's peeking through. And that's been Parisian stained. And this gorgeous lace again on the edge. And this here again is another printed piece that I've used my cutting machine to cut around. So it's a gorgeous, you know, reasonable cut around all the ladies that I've got here that are shapely and not just in the photograph. They've been cut out on my cutting machine. I have a cameo and I just love it. It's just a beautiful machine that my daughter and husband and a dear friend put in for my birthday, I think a few years back. I've had it a few years now, probably about 5 years now. And I just love it. I use it every day because I create a lot of things with it and I sell them online. So, and I've just put some vintage music paper under that, and this is from a pattern paper, and I've just sort of threaded a bit of a concertina look about that just to sit her on there. But I think that looks quite sweet. Just pop out and write on it. Okay. Again, I've made another pocket that concertina's out. These are really easy to make. I don't know where I saw this, but I just thought, yep, I'm going to make a few of those. But they're good for just sticking bits of ephemera in. And again, I've used my Magnolia just to sort of tie in all the design. I don't mind a hodgepodge journal, but when I do a journal, I try to keep a bit of a uniform type of look without making it look too ordered. Again, this woman here is the woman that's on the front. You can see her there. And in here we have just a little another woman, obviously, because it's a Magnolia woman journal, and just a gorgeous little bag that's been, I think this one was tea stained, so she goes in the front one there. This one here, I've got a feeling that's her again, but I can't be sure. Oh yeah, it is. It's got a name. There you go. How about that? I'll write out a picture there, but that's, yeah, that's the same woman here. I should have propped another one over there, but never mind. Can go in there. And this one, I absolutely love this design. She's so beautiful. And I don't know who she is, but she's probably an actress that they've taken photos of. And, yeah, just very vintage. And again, a beautiful piece of moulding there. And again, I've stained the back with paint. That's a bit of raw umber and some wood glaze. Let's pop her in there. Okay, turning over. Got this envelope that I've put a little bit of coffee in this one, so you can see it's just a little bit patchy. It's a coffee tea stained piece, and this is an envelope. These are stampings that I put on here. These two are from the IOD range, and this one's just a piece of writing stamp that I've had for such a long time I couldn't tell you what it is, and a beautiful piece of vintage doily. I love that. It's linen in the middle, and yeah, and that opens out. We've got a little bit of music paper, one of my notes that I've created years ago. I just found an extra piece of paper, and because she is there, I thought, well, yes, why not? Let's use that in her too. And this again is that beautiful wallpaper, and I've made some journal cards out of that wallpaper because they've got the Magnolia design on it, and just you can journal on the back, and that goes back in the envelope, which comes back over. All right, this here, I love this woman's face. I think she's just so pretty, and I've made these with my cutting machine, and I've Parisian essenced these. The back's a little bit different, just plain. Again, put that lovely silk on there and made a beautiful bookmark for somebody, and that'll go back in my lovely linen repurposed doily here. Again, just some gorgeous sepia designs just for a journal. They work in well with this particular journal. It's not a rose. I don't know if it's a magnolia, but I do love it, and it kind of maybe looks like a bit of a hibiscus, I don't know, but it works, so I'll pop that in there. And this is beautiful linen, and it is vintage. I don't know about this cottony sort of lace on it, but this is so lovely. I don't mind hacking them up for my journals because I try to put really good quality things in. Again, this gorgeous, gorgeous paper ready to be journaled on. This is another envelope with another one of those beautiful women. Just open her out. In this one, we've got another journaling card. And in this one, we have just some folded over wallpaper design, which has had the Mod Podge on the back. And these here, this paper I've had hanging around for many, many years, and it is an old vintage. You can see this is not created. This is a vintage paper that was handmade a long time ago with lots of messy looking bits of paper, I think. And so I've embossed the front of it and just popped a couple of those in there just as some extras for journaling. I don't have anything French in here. I do like French ephemera, but in many of my journals I might put some French ephemera, but usually I try to use my own stuff so that it's sort of not all French. I love anything French. I'm a bit of a Francophile when it comes to their ephemera and their beautiful papers and writings. But this is just an envelope, and I've stuck down some of the other wallpaper that we saw back here somewhere. Can't find it now. There, this one. I've stuck down some of that onto the envelope and just put a little bit of a frill on the edge of it with some lace that I've cut off a doily. And again, another journaling card with the magnolias on it. I think you're probably getting the gist. This is a Magnolia journal. Okay, now this one here, this is the first where are we? That's the first signature, so there's a lot in that signature there. This one here opens out, and it opens out there, so I think we can get the whole thing in there. It's a trifold type of journal. Okay, so these two I haven't put any ephemera in because this is chunky, babe, chunky. But you're going to love the papers, and you're going to be able to journal on the papers. So this is just a little where are we, piece of, this is an old glassine bag. What I've done is I've placed another journal card in there. This is one of the IOD stamps, and what I did was I stamped the stamp into clay, and then I've painted it up just to make it look a little bit old looking, and I've stuck it on there. So that's just the front of the page. I was going to put some more here, but I thought no, there's probably enough on that. And so that's just a glassine bag, and that opens up like that. That's the bag, and I've just sewn in some gorgeous Parisian stained paper, just a couple of sheets. It's like a little mini notebook, and pull this back down, and I've just sat it in there. This is just a bit of a dangle, just to you know, make it look a bit pretty. And that's just a it's like a, I don't know, a material bookmark, I suppose, coming through the book just to separate the pages whenever you need. And these are old vintage beads that I found and repurposed, and this is from one of the IOD molds, the same one that rose one came from before. But I've got a feeling this is Fimo I did this one with. So I've basically put it along the strip of the mould and then just chopped bits and made earrings out of them. I don't wear them, but I've made earrings out of this stuff. So I think it's Fimo, that one there. So it's nice and hard. And I've just really stuck it onto the beautiful sari silk there. Done a few of those with bits and pieces inside that tie off the journal. Haven't done it on both of them. I've done it on one of them. So this is the second signature here. So that's basically that little mini, again, a piece of that lovely wallpaper that has been that's been Parisian Essence. There's no Mod Podge on that one. And all of these pages, again, you can see there's quite a lovely lot of them there. They're all for journaling or for decorating yourself. Again, another lovely fashionable girl. I was born in the wrong era. I love these clothes. I love the style. Again, just painted the back. And there's that beautiful, stunning paper. I love it, love it, love it. And this is that really ugly dress that I cut the lace off. Just there, just gorgeous. Love it, love that. Okay, so that's the second signature. Yeah, there's quite a few pages in there for journaling. And the third signature is attached to the back section, and that's just, again, just beautiful plain paper. And the beauty about this is you could probably tuck more under, which is what I've done with this one. I've just slid that under there. And so if you need to put more pages in at any point, you can either undo it with undo the silk, or you can just, you know, slip some smaller sheets under there just to fluff it out a little bit. Although this journal is quite a chunky baby, and so on the back here, there's just really the pages that you see, they're all beautifully stained. I put one of my thoughtful note girls in there, even though it's out of whack with the journal in the sense of it. She's not a woman, she's a little girl. Just popped her under there. Oh, that is really, really funky looking. Oh, this is one of my frames. I do sell these in a set online. I've got the Magnolia one and one of my lavender drawings, which kind of goes that way and sort of sticks out. I sell those in a set online in my Etsy store. And I've left it empty so you can see the Magnolia through the back, but you could put a picture under there because I've left that side open. All right. Now, when closing this journal, just a matter of closing down that side. You can see just leaving that signature, closing it with the signature. And then placing the whole thing down. But I'll just show you this lovely piece, which is same as the journal cards that I've got in here. It's just this is a coffee tea stained page, and I've just put it in there just for extra paper for journaling. And that beautiful little lace section there in the back. I used some crackle paint on here just for a little bit of interest. I did paint the background of the actual journal cover. I painted that in a lovely blossom type pink colour. But when I looked at it, I thought, it's not that I don't like, it's this colour here. I don't dislike it, but I just didn't want too much of it. I've left some of it in here, but I've put some beautiful crackle paint on there. And added some sari silk here, just really because I'd cut through the lace and I didn't want it to be too flimsy, because, you know, if you're like me, you just stuff things in pockets and in your journals, and you might want to put something more in this one. And I've just made one of these simple bows just to sort of sit there and be a little bit more sturdy. So yeah, that's my lovely Magnolia journal, and I think I'm going to call her Miss Magnolia. How about that? Originality. And on the back again, you've got this gorgeous lace. That's a pocket for putting stuff on. You could sort of tuck something under there if you like, but yeah, so that's what she looks like. And I'm going to leave this open now. I'm not going to wrap her back up because I'm going to do some photographing so I can list her online. I hope you've enjoyed having a bit of a squiz through my journal. And you know, it takes ages to make these things and I just love the creativity of them. And I like, for instance, I like to not have it too all over the place. I like the fact that it's, you know, got a theme about it. So it's not a colour theme necessarily, but all the colours do tie in beautifully together. And the Magnolia being part of the theme and the women being the other part of the theme. So yeah, just dress it up, like tie that down. You'd have to really pull that down just to keep it closed. Okay, so thank you for watching. Ask any questions. I'll try and get back to you in a reasonable time frame. And yeah, really love the fact that you've waited all the way through with me, and I hope to get some more online again in the near future. So bye for now.